Hey there, it's David here. I'm the head coach from The Body Shapers, which pretty much means I help women drop fat, tone up, and take control of their body. And I'm really excited to share a really cool video with you today, just regarding can you actually eat sugar and still lose weight successfully? And the reason I want to bring this to you is kind of two things. Number one, it's just such a common thing that I end up discussing with a lot of my female clients regarding sugar and regarding how to find this balance. And some people, come from that all or nothing mentality. Some people want to find a middle ground and how you can do this and can you actually eat sugar and still lose weight. It's a really interesting topic for them. And number two, came across some really cool research lately that dives into this topic and gives us some really cool insights on it. And I think it's just going to be awesome for a lot of people to hear and understand. But I think really the whole point of this is that, most people need to find a middle ground. As I said, a lot of people have the all or nothing mentality. They cut things out, they go very strict and restrictive, and they think that's the way to, long-term keep the weight off. But a lot of people kind of know intuitively, it's really hard if you do that. And if you think that, you've got these misconceptions, like I have to remove this, I can't eat that, it kind of forces you into, resorting to diets that do that. And it's really difficult long-term to stick to that stuff. And, if you've ever done quite a strict, very restrictive diet yourself, you probably know what that's like a little bit. But what happens is when you find out, how you can actually lose weight in a way that suits your lifestyle and gives you a little bit of freedom, then you can really be successful long term. And that's what it's all about ultimately. So what sort of research did I find and what's all this about then? Well, I saw this research from actually a seminar with a guy called Layne Norton, who's really high up in the fitness industry, very smart man, and he shared some research where these researchers got two groups of people, and what they had them both on a similar diet in a sense of same amount of calories in both groups and same amount of protein for both groups as well, but obviously what they changed, i.e. the topic here, is the sugar. So one group had about 10 to 15 grams of sugar per day, whereas the other group had a whopping 110 grams of sugar per day. So like 100 grams of sugar difference in the groups, but remember, calories, protein stayed the same. And they were both on a weight loss sort of diet and they wanted to see the differences here. And what was really interesting is there was actually almost no difference between the two groups. I know, right? Almost no difference. There was 100 grams of sugar per day. And if you've ever eaten over 100 grams of sugar, which I'm sure we all have at certain times, it's a fair bit. But there was actually almost no difference. They both lost weight, they both improved most of their markers of health, they both had lots of changes. The main one difference I think was cholesterol. The cholesterol in the group that had less sugar improved more than the group that didn't, that did have more sugar. They didn't improve their cholesterol as much, which is probably just down to something like fiber. If you're eating a lot of sugar, it can be hard to get enough fiber in, which means fiber helps with your cholesterol, so that's probably what caused all that without going into the science. But that's what the theory was. But what was interesting was really nothing else was different in these two groups because they got their protein and calories the same. So what does that mean for the average woman, the average person who wants to get on track with their body and keep it that way, is that there is this middle ground you can find, and people end up focusing on what they should remove and what they shouldn't eat. Instead, the focus needs to be on what is actually most important and what you can put in. In this case, we see that if calories and protein are where they should be, you can have a lot more sugar than probably most people realize and still lose weight. But what actually happens with most people is they think, and they from generally anecdotal stuff, they assume that dropping the sugar was the secret to their weight loss. And I think that comes down to a couple of things. When you do drop a lot of sugar, generally those foods are quite high in calories. If you've ever looked at a donut or something like that, you'll notice that you rack up the calories pretty quick. So when you drop those foods that are high in sugar, you end up dropping a lot of your calories, and that leads to a lot of the weight loss, not so much the sugar. And number two, sugar is of course carbohydrates, and carbs always carry water with them when we ingest them. So if you eat a high carb meal, you actually carry a lot of water with that, and your weight will instantly kind of go up. If you just don't eat carbs for a few days, your weight will go down quite quick, but it's a lot of water weight. So often when we cut sugar and things like that, that's where a lot of our weight loss is coming from, especially short term. And again, it just leads to the confusion that, okay, if I want to lose weight, I've got to cut out all this food, and that's not the way that needs to be, and we can see research now backing that up. So I think that's a really cool point, and the takeaway for you is yes, you can eat some sugar if you're smart about your diet, and if you're including the right foods in the right amounts, there is a middle ground that can make anyone successful with it long term. So I hope that helps you. I hope that gives you a new perspective and can really shed some light on that topic. If you found this interesting, like us on Facebook. We've got tons more tips that'll help you out in everything fitness, health related. And I hope you enjoyed this video. That's all for now.